Hi guys, welcome back to Clockin Talks, and today we have joined by Antonia. Hi Antonia, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and even we are really excited to have the conversation with you. So, where are you from?
Gosh, that's such a good question. Because do you mean like where was I born or where have I lived? Where do I live now?
Like, where have you currently joined us from? Firstly, tell us
Okay,
that.
so I'm based in Norwich, England.
Okay,
But I moved, we were just talking before we started
yeah,
that I used to live in Melbourne, Australia. I've spent about half of my life in Australia, but I've also lived in Singapore as well.
okay, that's great. That's great. So, why not we start the conversation like, what were you doing before coaching? Like, what was your background when you were in Melbourne or Singapore? What were you doing at that time?
Yeah, so coaching is my second career. My first career was in sustainability. So I was
Okay.
helping large multinational businesses with their corporate social responsibility so they could reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and their environmental impact. And I really, really loved that work. I moved from the UK to Australia, and the sustainability market at the time was really small. And so I ended up moving into the world of looking after people. I started in recruitment and then moved into executive search and then outplacement, which was working with people to help them navigate the job market after they face redundancy. And as I went through each of these different stages, I realized that I really enjoyed helping people, but I enjoyed helping people help themselves because everyone's got a different way of doing things, and so I kind of supported people to navigate the job market in a way that was felt right for them. So it wasn't a cookie cutter approach, and that led me to coaching.
Yeah, that's great. Like, at which, can you tell me which year was like when you got into coaching?
Yeah, so I started coaching about 10 years ago. So it was
Okay.
a process of it started with career coaching, so helping people who either they were going for a promotion, or they wanted to change industries, change jobs, or they'd been made redundant and they were navigating the job market, and I was helping them get ready. So I really enjoyed helping people figure out, so what is it you're going to bring to the table? What's your unique selling point? How do you articulate your impact when you're talking to the market, when you're talking to potential employers? And I found that a lot of really capable people, particularly leaders, they were so used to promoting their team and, kind of leading from the front, but also from behind, pushing their team up and forward, that when it came to talking about their impact, sometimes they struggled. So we really worked on how do you articulate your impact and your value to an organization in a competitive process. And that's when I kind of realized that for me, coaching, if I'm doing a good job coaching, I'm almost not in the room. It's like I'm holding up a mirror to my clients and they're having a conversation with themselves. So it could be a conversation that they didn't really want to have,
Yeah.
or it was something that was kind of buried below, or a brand new conversation. But what I loved about it, it was the through that process, it was built by them for them, and that's why it became so effective.
Please tell me more about that, like build by them for them. Like, what approach do you actually use for this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's a lot of confusion actually around coaching, mentoring, advice. So when
Yeah.
I'm wearing my coaching hat, so I actually offer two services to my clients. One is career advisory. So based on understanding the job market over the last 10 years in the UK and Australia, I can help people get to where they want to from a job perspective faster. But there's a lot of that's really helping them navigate it efficiently. And then the other service is what I call pure coaching. So that's where I'm holding up a mirror and they're having a conversation with themselves. And how that works for me is that when you're giving someone advice, or if you listen to like a well-meaning colleague, people will give insights and opinions based on their life
Yeah.
experiences, but that's not necessarily what you need. You are the only person that can really figure out what you need. And that's, for me, that's the beauty, that's the magic of coaching, is that you're having, it's like if I'm holding up that mirror and you're having a conversation with yourself, but it's very different to, your thoughts circulating in your mind round and around, because actually our mind's incredibly clever and we can debate and we can convince ourselves of different things. But when you're in a coaching partnership and I'm holding up the mirror, I'm reflecting back, I may be gently challenging, I'm sharing observations, and I think the physical act of speaking the words out loud and then being reflected back to you, I think you really see things in a new light. And when you generate insights that have you generated them, right? You've come up with them, and then you find ways forward. I think it's much more likely to stick because you've self-generated them. It's very different from someone giving you advice.
Yeah.
I didn't see that as being sustainable. And so kind of the deep coaching work that I do, which is often around confidence or maybe not feeling good enough, or, some really challenging things. If you're building solutions for yourself over time, that's going to stick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, I must say. Antonio, one more thing I want to ask, that you mentioned that many people ask advice from other people and they might be telling that you want to listen. What's your take on AI? Like, many people ask advice from AI too. And then there are coaches, and then there are their friends and other people. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, look, I've got clients who are doctors, CEOs, really, really senior, well-educated people, and they're using AI, right? They're saying
Yeah.
act as a psychologist, act as a mentor, act as a coach. So people are using it, absolutely, right? How well you use it, obviously, if you put rubbish in, you get rubbish out. So, but people are getting really sophisticated with how to use AI, and absolutely, there's a place for that. But I think, for me, when I'm with a client and that client is feeling heard and seen, and they're understanding themselves better, I think that can't be replaced by AI. And there's been some studies on AI coaching, and even if they can coach to an international coaching federation, PCC level, professional certified coach level, which is what I'm at, um, people still want to speak to a human,
Yeah.
because I actually think a lot of the shifts that happen in my coaching, I think it's an energetic shift. I think it's an emotional shift. I think it's a deeply human shift. So you can have AI give you answers, but also they're still not catching the silences. So, for example, some of my most kind of moving coaching sessions are when, in 50 minutes, I might ask less than 6 questions. Really, there's a lot of deep thinking, but the silence, AI can't pick up on the silence.
Yeah.
They can't pick up on the tone of your voice. For example, I had a client recently. They were saying something positive, but like there was tension in their jaw. And I picked that up and I said, can I share an observation? I'm seeing this. And then that led to, further inquiry. AI can't do that
Yeah, for sure.
yet. Who knows where we're going? But for now,
Yeah.
but for now,
Yeah.
I don't think AI can't offer presence,
Yeah.
really that connection you have with human to human conversation.
I also want to add one more thing to that, that I've realized that the more we all humans are exposed to, advancements, technology, or, infotech, the more we are craving for the deep human connections, the emotional connections. And we don't want the polished things. We want something like raw and real. And to be honest, that was the purpose of this talk show, that keep it non-scripted. Like whatever comes in my mind, I ask it. What do you think of that? That is it like the more we are into technologies advancements, the more we are, craving for that. The other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we're lonelier than ever before. The mental ill health that we're experiencing globally, is astronomical. We're in a really difficult time, and I think a large part of that is down to living in a fragmented society where we're more connected to our phones than we are to the people around
Yeah.
us. And we're not living in villages and communities. We're living in isolation. And so I actually see coaching as a space where it provides an opportunity for people to connect with themselves. Actually, that's what it
Yeah.
is, right? Because
Yeah.
we are disconnected as a society, but we're also disconnected from ourselves
Yeah.
by default. And so the beauty of coaching is you have a better relationship with yourself or selves.
Yeah.
And so actually I think it's even more important than before. And the great thing is that coaching has become far more accessible, um, particularly in the last couple of years. And I think it's really needed.
Yeah. Even I think we all are in some or the other race, and coaching helps us to get or find our spark again that we had and that we forgot in the, any kind of race. We all are, just running in different sort of races. Like it can be money, fame, business, but eventually we have lost our spark, and that's where coaching comes in handy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you were saying that, I thought of two clients that I've worked with recently, women, you know, late 50s, and almost a belief that I can't change, right? Like that was the belief from these two particular women, completely different things that they came to me for. But, the commonality was actually, I don't think I can change. Like I've got this far in my life, I'm almost 60, like I'm not going to be able to change. And in both situations they were able to change. They were able to reconnect with their spark, or find themselves again, because it came back to alignment, right? I think often this is down to misalignment, often to do with the pressures of society and trying to fit in, and not having the confidence to be who they want to be. And yeah, I think it is possible. It's possible to find your spark or reconnect with yourself or address that, whatever that thing is that you want to change. It is never, ever, ever too late. Never too
Yeah,
late.
yeah, rightly said it, Tonya. Yeah, even I do believe that. Yeah. Okay, then now let's talk about your business. Firstly, I want to ask you one thing. Do you work with individuals only or with groups or, organizations as well?
Mhm. Yeah, all of the above. All of the above. So I work one
What
to
do you
one,
enjoy the
working
most?
group. That's such a good question. I think for me, I love. Okay, so there's two things. One, I love working one on one with people over, uh, you know, a 6 month period. If you really want that kind of deep transformational change, it requires hard work and an investment of time and energy. I think watching people go from that mindset of I can't change to, you know, I'm beginning to change, and I never thought I would be able to do that. I mean, that is just phenomenal. Or another client who she wanted to start a business, but she was holding back, and she hadn't, she'd put it off for years and years and years, and by the time we finished working together, she'd launched her business. So for me, like, seeing people go and do like their best work or be their best selves, as kind of cliche as it sounds, like, you can't replace that, right?
Yeah.
And they did the work, right? I facilitated the space, I asked the questions, I was curious, but they did the hard work. So it's really beautiful to witness that. That said, when you're working in a group and you have this kind of like synergy, one person maybe becomes vulnerable and then another person does, and then you have this collective kind of change, that's really beautiful to see too. And then with organizations, whether it's kind of coaching or workshops on, I mean, in next month, I'm doing a talk on managers, and like, managers are in the middle. They've stepped up, and maybe, that relationship with their colleagues changes. They don't necessarily have all of the decision-making power. So that's a challenge as well. So I really enjoy running workshops. And when I say workshops, I mean, they're highly interactive. There's, people walk away with something that they can apply in their work is really important to me. So I love it all. So I get something from each part. And I think for me, having a variety of work is really beneficial. It keeps me busy.
Yeah. Antonia, the workshops you do, are these offline or online?
Yeah, they're both. So earlier in the year, I was at the Richmond CFO forum, doing a workshop on resilience and team performance, and then the next one that I've got is online. So it's a variety.
Okay. So the one you are having the next is online or offline?
It's online.
Okay. And
I can share the link with you.
that was what I was asking. That are the registrations and all the things open for everyone?
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Okay. Then I would
that's
love
in
to
a
just
partnership
put
with an organization called Tiller, and Tiller offers support to managers. So we know that managers often, they're lacking support. So they offer one-to-one coaching, a community where other managers can meet other managers from different organizations, and workshops as well.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to ask, are you working this like the coaching as your own business, or you are also, into some organization as an employee or something like that? I want to ask you that.
Yeah. So predominantly my work is through my own private practice, which is called Coaching with Kooks. And I'll tell you about the next chat in a moment. And then I do some work with some organizations as well.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So I think it was great having a conversation with you. But before I just end up and wind up this, I want to ask you, like, what's just something if you want to share with the audience? It can be your advice or learning in your coaching space or anything that would help people, I would ask.
Okay. When you say help people, what kind of people have you got in mind?
Anything like uh, any life advice or anything which would help professionals or working people, that thing.
Okay. It's a really great question.
Like your
I think
learning
I
so
think
far, yeah.
the learning so far. I think if I think about my coaching business, so I guess I decided to do it my way. So there's a lot of advice out there on how to run your business, and there's a lot of people telling you that you need like this and that, like a sales funnel and a marketing email list. And when I set up my business, I made the decision that I was going to run it in accordance with what was important to me. So I don't have an email list intentionally, because I hate getting email spam. If I want something, I will go and find it. I don't need it in my inbox. So I decided out of principle, I don't want to be treated that way. So I'm not going to treat my clients that way. I decided that I was never going to sell. I would make it an invitation. I offer a 40-minute free consultation. Let's have a conversation. I'm not going to be everybody's coach, right? And not every client's going to be the right client for me. So let's have a conversation. Let's see what you want to explore. Can I help you? If I can help you and it feels like a good fit, great. But if not, let me recommend another coach that I know. So I decided I was going to do things my way. And when I set on my business Coaching with Kooks, so I'm half English, half Ghanaian. And my Ghanaian name is Kukwa, and my nickname is Kooks. So I decided to set up my business Coaching with Kooks, and I was like, I'm just going to do it my way. Like it's a little bit unusual, right?
Your business,
but I really wanted to be. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to be me, right? Because actually, when someone decides to work with me, they're deciding to work with who I am, and so I've got to show up as I am. There's no point pretending. So I've turned people away because I'm like, I don't think we're going to be a great fit, but let me recommend someone else. So I think it comes back to like being a little bit or brave enough to do it your own way. I think is really really important, and you know being okay with that.
Yeah, that's great. So that was it. Thanks a lot, Antonia, for joining us. And do one thing, do provide me all the links that I need to put in the description, and I will definitely do that. And that said, thanks a lot for you all for watching this till the end. And thanks a lot, Antonia, again. See you all in the next one. Thank you. Have a nice